Welcome to my channel. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for joining me once again and for being an awesome subscriber and follower. Secondly, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Faviola and I am a professional interpreter, interpreter trainer, and business coach. I've been in business for over 19 years, started my business literally from the ground up. So in today's video, what I want to discuss is a little bit more with regards to starting a business. I know that there's just so much information online that it can be very overwhelming, very hectic. And for those of you aspiring entrepreneurs who are just wanting to tap into this industry or that industry and having all this online information online, I'm sure it has you even more confused, more overwhelmed, and probably even stressed out, right? I know that, for somebody like myself who's been in business for over 19 years, who went through all of the struggles and tribulations starting a business, and as the business grew and flourished, there was more pains and headaches, more rewards, but at the same time, more challenges, which is one of the things that I see so much online right now, which it can be very frustrating even for me, because I know a lot of these online influencers, online business coaches, they show you all of the good, but they don't really talk about the back end, about all of the bad, the headaches, the struggles, the challenges that come along when starting a business. And I can't stress that enough. Some of my students who come to me and tell me, Fabiola, I need your help. I want to be like you. I want to do what you're doing. I want to open my own agency. I want to open my own corporation, my own business, become an entrepreneur, become a freelancer, etc., etc. Whatever you want to call yourself. At the end of the day, one of the things that I keep telling everyone, I can help you all day long and get you where you want to be. One, you got to be willing to do the work. Two, you got to be willing to invest in yourself. Three, you got to go in with an open mind and understanding that where I'm at right now, it took me 19 years to get here. It took me 19 years of struggles, challenges, headaches, and late nights, a lot of time away from my family. And that time, I'm never going to be able to regain. So when you see all of these online influencers and you want to mimic them or you want to be like them, one of the things that my daughter tells me when she sees me scrolling through social media is, Mommy, stop trying to be like everybody else. You are perfect the way you are. And that's a constant reminder when your 8-year-old is telling you, Mommy, stop trying to be like everybody else. I'm not trying to be like everybody else, but I got to look at what's out there. I got to look at the competition. I got to look at what they're doing and see if maybe I can improve myself, or maybe there's things that I don't know, especially with all of these changes with social media. There's new things that I'm now learning, things that I didn't do 19 years ago. 19 years ago, I marketed my services a whole different way compared to the way people market themselves nowadays. So one of the things that I want you to understand is that if you want to be an online marketer, influencer, blogger, whatever you want to be, social media is a great platform to market your services. And honestly, you don't have to invest and pay hundreds of dollars or make an investment on getting trained for this, getting trained for that to be able to market your services for free. There are so many platforms out there. There's so many ways and methods that you can do that. But of course, again, it all comes down to knowing how to do it. So you can learn all of these tools and resources and how to do things on your own, but obviously it's going to take time. And that's where, some of these influencers, business coaches come in handy. So you got to understand, because I see so much where, I had a couple of students where they were investing in this program and that program and then this program, but it had nothing to do with their overall business. Their business didn't require all of these things that they paid for. So one of the things that I've done throughout the 19 years is I created all of my processes, procedures, and plans to work in with every business sector, but at the same time to be able to mold them to your business. And that is where I'm different. The other difference is everything that I provide to you has been tested and improved, and it's a proven method that it works. It works so much that, like I said, many of my students get booked within 30 days, start earning, and their investment to my services, they start, basically it pays off within 30 days. Now, every situation is different. I have some go-getters that are just like boom, boom, boom. They do everything that they need to do. They get out of their comfort zone and they go out there and hustle. And they go out there and they get the business, putting all of these procedures and processes in place. Now, for those of you who are bilingual and want to become interpreters, you got to understand one thing, okay? And I'm going to focus right now on you, interpreters, translators, that you got to get your mind really clear. Do you want to be a freelancer? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want to be a small business? Or do you want to be an agency? Because there's a huge difference with every single one. There's different processes, there's different procedures, and you can't go from saying, oh, one day, you know what, I'm bilingual and I want to become my own boss, without having any business experience, without having any type of experience whatsoever. I said this before. One of the things that helped me with my business was because I came from a family that started their own businesses. So I grew up in a small sole proprietor business, entrepreneurs, and I worked with small businesses. So I learned a lot of the ins and outs that eventually helped me with my business when it comes to administration, the back end, the overall working of a business. You can't just jump in and say, oh, I want to start my own business and implement things as they go. It may work for some people, such as myself. I went in it, not knowing what to expect. I went in it wanting to be just my own boss. I didn't go in it really with the vision of becoming an agency in such a short time. And I actually was so grateful and blessed that it flourished so quickly. But I think it came down to the fact that in this area, the demand was so high, and there wasn't a lot of agencies that could provide all of the services that I was able to provide. But trust me, it took years of developing, implementation, trial and error, fixing this, fixing that. Okay, this doesn't work, then let's try this. Okay, this doesn't work, then let's try that. But again, my mindset has always been of entrepreneurship. I'm a go-getter. I do whatever it takes to get things done. If I set my mind and goal to a certain thing, I make sure that I do whatever it takes to get it done. Where I'm at now is I'm no longer an agency. I am happy where I'm at. I'm an entrepreneur. I get to work when I want, from wherever I want, and whenever I want. I can pick and choose. Okay, I want to work 2 days and then take the rest of the time off. Or I want to make $5,000 this month and I have to create a plan to be able to meet that goal. Or I want to make $10,000 this month and I got to implement certain processes and procedures to meet that goal. But again, it takes strategizing, strategic plan to make sure to make, in order for us to be able to make that happen. So for those of you that want to be like me, I'm so grateful and thankful to you and for all your praising and everything that you tell me, but like I said before, this didn't happen overnight. Now, being an agency or being a corporation, you got to understand that it's going to take a lot of work. Even with my plans and with my processes and procedures, you're not me and I'm not you. I don't know your method of operation. I don't know how you work. I don't know how many hours you want to work. I don't know how much time you have. I don't know how much money you can invest in your business. You know, so therefore the process can be fast, it can be slow, but it's not impossible. But you got to keep that in mind. So for those of you who are moms and you say, I want to open an agency, again, opening an agency, it's so great. I mean, I just loved being a CEO. I loved, that empowerment of being my own boss and having these contracts and, $1 million contracts and, playing with the big dogs. But it came with a sacrifice, a huge sacrifice that honestly, right now, even though I enjoyed it a lot, I regret all that time that was taken away from my children. I regret the time that it took away from my family. And one of the most, or I should say, one of the biggest regrets that I have is that I was not able to spend that time with my father as he was passing. And so those are the things that you have to consider when you decide, hey, Fabiola, I want to be, I want to open my corporation or I want to open my agency. Because it's going to take a lot of time. Now you can be a freelancer and work for, companies or free agencies and still work when you want, but you're kind of at the mercy of the agencies. Unless, again, you implement the plans and the procedures that I've created to be able to sell yourself, to be able to promote yourself, to be able to earn your worth. Again, you can go that route. You can become an entrepreneur, small business, getting your own clients. But again, it takes processes, procedures, knowing what to do, how to do it, so that you're not over promoting and under delivering. And becoming an agency corporation, you got to be prepared. If you're going to be outreaching for those big contracts and playing with the big dogs, then you're going to have those tools and processes and procedures in place in order for you to be able to successfully complete those tasks. And I think many of you, and I said this before, many of you have just jumped in. Either one, you don't want to invest in yourself, or you can't invest in yourself, or you feel that you can do it on your own. And more power to you. But you're going to realize pretty soon that everything that's coming along that just looks, oh my God, it's so exciting and it's great. And I landed this contract and, I landed this new business. And then 6 months later, a year later, things start falling through the cracks. Things start crumbling down because you didn't have this in place. You didn't have that in place. You didn't have the right processes and procedures to successfully operate your business. And, and that was one of the things, a lot of the things I learned the hard way. And I said this before in another video. Are you prepared? Do you have processes and procedures implemented to operate your business when you're not able to work, when the economy crashes, when clients are not paying you, when employees are not doing what they're supposed to do, when contractors are not showing up when they're supposed to, or when contractors start complaining because you're not paying them their worth, or because you thought it was this and they thought it was that, and then the bickering and happens. Again, learn from somebody that went through all of those struggles and challenges. Somebody that's still dealing with the animosity, the grief, the problems, the headaches. I was what they call a solopreneur. Again, even though I was CEO of my business, that didn't take away all of the problems and headaches that came along with the business. So for those of you that say, oh, well, if I open a corporation that, they can't pierce the corporate veil and they can't come after me and they can't sue me and they can't come after oh, that's BS. Trust me. they'll find a way to pierce that corporate veil, and everything that you worked for can go down the drain just like that. Again, when you don't have the right process and procedures and even the right contracts, it can drain you and it can take your business down. So it's so important. I can't stress it enough. You got to think about that. You got to think about where you want to be, where you want to go, how you want to do it, and if you're really, really ready to take on that challenge. And, stop spending on all of these programs here and programs there. I had a couple of students saying, oh, well, how come your website is not like, ABC site where I can just go and purchase it and download it and then just do the step-by-step. One of the things that I always say, and I keep repeating this time and time again, okay, if you don't know how to do a certain task, how in the heck are you going to be able to train the next person to take over that task? Okay. Think about that. If you don't know how to handle or maneuver a computer system, how are you going to train your employees to maneuver and handle that computer system? If you want your employees to do things a certain way, if you don't know how to do it, how do you expect them to do it? Many years back, I'm talking about, oh my Lord, I don't want to say my age, but about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I was working for a new construction cleanup company. And this business was very profitable, very profitable. They had a couple of franchises, and they had just landed some contracts with some big builders that many of you know, Kaufman and Broad, Shea Homes, which ones were the other ones? There's a couple of other ones. And they operated their business with subcontractors. And again, all of that experience helped me. They operated they contracted subcontractors. But back then, the labor board wasn't such a stickler. Okay, so this company dictated how to do it, when to do it, rate of pay, so on and so forth. Well, as a subcontractor, you are in business for yourself. So that's one thing that I want you to remember, because I know a lot of freelancers out there keep using the term job. You work for an agency and they say it's your job. Or if you're working for an agency as a freelancer, you're signing a 1099, you're not an employee. You're a 1099 subcontractor. So when you decide that you want to sue this company for labor laws or unemployment, or because they fired you or they let you go, but you're an independent contractor, you can't do anything about it unless you take them to small claims, unless you take them to civil court. But many of you still have that understanding, oh, well, I'm an employee. No, honey, you're not an employee. If you sign an agreement, you're a 1099 contractor. So back to this agency, or this company, I should say. They didn't have anything in place. So when I came along, and I was young, when I came along, I had to implement a lot of the procedures in place, because this small business was now being sued, was now being taken to court. And the one in the front line was myself, because even though I started off as a receptionist, within 3 months, I moved my way up to accounting. A few months later, I became the office manager. So I was out on the front line. So I was able to, thanks to these procedures, fight these cases. But again, if you don't have certain things in place, you, my dear, are shooting yourself in the foot. You, my dear, are going to put you and your business at risk. I can't stress that enough. And I see this time and time again, a lot of small agencies who are now making the same mistakes I made when I first started. So again, that's great that you're trying to do it on your own, because maybe the budget is limited, or maybe you just don't feel comfortable investing in yourself or investing in a program. And that's great. But the last thing I want is for you to put your business at risk because you didn't have certain things in place, because you thought in your mind that you had things in place. And one of the things that I see a lot is small business owners, going out there and putting flyers and saying, oh, okay, I'm looking for a Spanish, Punjabi, Hindi interpreter. Well, what procedures do you have in place to make sure that these people are actually interpreters, and that it's not, John Doe from working at Walmart that saw your post and now wants to work? Are you even training them? Are you even providing something for them? Because at the end of the day, they're representing you. They're representing your business. So if they're not representing you, then, or misrepresenting you, then they're misrepresenting your business. So these are a lot of things that you need to factor in when you decide you want to start your own business. I have other clients where they're selling products, the same thing, products or services. You have to have certain things in place in order for you to be successful. And I can't stress it enough. And I see it where I see, I can be very nosy. And I see where these online marketers are promoting, okay, I'm going to sell you this program for a biz plan, or I'm going to sell you this program to market yourself online, or I'm going to sell you this plan so that you can create a beautiful website, or this plan to create a funnel. So you're paying for this plan, that plan, this plan. So at the end of the day, if you start adding it up, you're in it thousands and thousands of dollars. So why not just find a business coach that's going to be able to provide you from starting, middle, and end, that's going to be able to provide you with the foundation and everything that your business requires in order for your business to be successful. On another note, for example, today I was out in the Bay, San Francisco, and I was there on a deposition. Said this before, I am not court certified, but I have decades of experience. I train myself with terminology. I am always learning and always up to the challenge to learning something new. So when the court reporter said, okay, well, what is your certification number? Granted, I always disclose my qualifications and experience to my clients. And so I told her I'm not court certified. Well, thanks to a customer of mine who sent me this little PDF that court reporters basically use. And this is an inside secret. So she said, when court reporters start asking you, just show them this. So I did. She's like, but, and I said, and I'm sure your next question is, do the attorneys know? And I said, yes, the attorneys know. So then the attorney that contracted my service said, is everything okay? I said, oh, yeah, she was just asking me about my certification, blah, blah, blah. So as you're aware, I'm not certified. He's all right, but you have more than enough experience, Faviola. We're okay with you. And so we went ahead and moved ahead. And so then after a couple of hours, we went on a break, and the court reporter's like, oh my gosh, you are such a great interpreter. You are like the best. I've worked with certified interpreters, and not many of them are able to interpret, so smoothly and clearly like you do. And she spoke a little bit of Spanish. The attorneys actually spoke Spanish, so they were happy and comfortable, obviously, with my services, and they asked the deponent, and the deponent was very happy with my services. Long story short, as we were eating lunch, the court reporter was telling me that she's like, oh my gosh, like, are you with an agency? I said, no, I'm here on my own. So she's like, okay, well, ABC company, XYZ company, can you believe it? Just last week, they sent in an interpreter. The interpreter said, where do I sit? What am I supposed to do? And she's like, I'm sorry, and who are you? He said, well, I speak Spanish. So the court reporter said, oh, so are you the deponent? His response was, what does that mean? She's like, okay, so are you the interpreter? Well, yeah, I guess. So what am I supposed to do? So the court reporter is sitting there telling him, well, you're supposed to interpret from English to Spanish, Spanish to English, vice versa. So as they started, I guess not even 10 minutes into the deposition, the interpreter was saying, "Oh, he's saying this, he's saying that." And so the attorneys had to intervene in telling him, "Hey, you're supposed to interpret in the first person." "Oh, well, this is how I interpret." So anyways, there's so many horror stories that you see out there and here. And I go back to, if you're an agency and you're just trying to cover those assignments and just sending, you know, how we say it in Spanish, fulanito sutanito, to these assignments, be prepared that your business is not going to last long. And if it does, you are not going to be doing very well. And because again, these people are representing you. So if you're sending people out to these assignments and they have no clue and they've never worked in these type of scenarios, what makes you think that they're going to represent your business the way you want them to do it? So it's so important. There's just so many things that you need to be aware of before you start your business. I said before, I'm helping a couple of attorneys, small attorneys are going from the corporate world into, their own solo practice. And I'm helping them with their whole planning, their business planning, to be able to start, grow, and launch their business. Because you can't, again, they tried it, didn't work. So they came to me. And I'm just so thankful and blessed and grateful for all of the years of experience that I gained throughout the years. And the only thing that I can say and what I can bring to the table is that even though I went through so many struggles and challenges and tribulations throughout the years, I learned a lot. I learned a lot, and all of those learning curves and all of the trials and struggles have helped me train new entrepreneurs and interpreters, has helped me teach the do's, the don'ts, the good, the bad, and the evil to entrepreneurs. So I'm not going to make it all pretty and glittery and beautiful and say, oh, it's a piece of cake, or, oh, you know what, you're going to make six figures in 6 months or in a year. Yeah, many of them are doing it at a very young age, but again, they don't stay in the business for a very long time. And if they do, if you do your research right, things are not what you think. Things are not how they make them to be. So it's important that you get the right training, that you invest in yourself, and that you do some outreach. Learn a little bit more about the industry. Learn about where you want to be, where you want to go, where do you see yourself. And last thing I want to share with you is stop investing in yourself with all of these schools and trainings. What you need to do is you need to get experience. Because, sorry, I keep flicking my hair because it's so hot in here. For those of you that are bilingual and want to become interpreters, and that have been outreaching to me and saying, oh, well, I want to sign up with this school because they're going to teach me how to get certified. I said it before and I say it again. That is awesome if you're going to get certified. Okay. But if you have no experience, it's going to be useless. Trust me. Okay. You're basically shooting yourself in the foot trying to do something with no experience. So if you're going to pay the money to go to school and get that education, you better start getting some experience on learning how to do it. Same thing for entrepreneurs. You can't say, I want to become a top chef just because you went to a school and you paid all this money to learn all the basics. But if you've never worked in a restaurant, if you don't know how it functions, if you don't know the front line, the back line, the dishwashers and the servers and all of this, how can you start your own business? I've seen it time and time again in my line of work, and many of you can agree, when we are working for different industries, we see it all. We see all of the challenges and struggles and people going into court being sued because they didn't have things in place. You know, their business is crumbling down because they're being taken to the labor board. They're being sued because somebody got hurt and they didn't have an action plan for it. So it's important to have and understand everything that you need to know when running your business. Even when you're running an online business, do you know what you need to have? If you're selling products overseas, do you know what processes you need to have? Are you meeting the guidelines for shipping? Are you meeting the guidelines for those overseas sales? I mean, there's more to it. And yes, you may run into luck in your business. Like I said before, you may hit the jackpot and your business may flourish within the first 3 to 6 months. But trust me, the headaches will come sooner or later. So try to avoid those headaches. Try to avoid those struggles and challenges, and make sure that you get the right information and the right processes and procedures in place for you and your business. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. Leave me a comment. Let me know your questions, your concerns, and how I can be of service. If you are interested in learning more about what I provide, how I work, and if you want to be part of my CEO Hustler team, make sure that you join my website. Okay, so ready for this? It's the main website is FaviolaValencia.com. FaviolaValencia.com. Okay, in there, you're going to see the different tabs of the different services that I provide. So if you are an interpreter, or if you are bilingual and want to become an interpreter, make sure that you check out my bossupandrise.com website. Bossupandrise.com website. You'll see the different programs there. You want to start your own agency or corporation or become this top-notch business owner? Make sure that you visit the CEOHustler.com, the CEOHustler.com website. Now, if you're not ready to invest in a big program or workshop, make sure that you visit my Entrepreneur Cafe Biz, entrepreneurcafebiz.com site, where you can join for free or as a student or in the Premier page, and you can get free videos, tips, resources, guides, and information. Or if you're a student, then you can get additional information on how to become an interpreter, or the Premier, where basically you're going to have access to all of the 3 different modules. Now, if you are a client or a business who is interested in or needs help breaking the language barrier and needs a Spanish interpreter or a Spanish translator, then I invite you to visit www.eliteservicesforyou.com, eliteservicesforyou.com. So I've created a website to meet everybody's needs and to help you start, grow, launch, and more importantly, decipher your business as well as your career. Stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe.